Now we'll look at some of the advanced features in Google Forms. As I'm sure you're aware, there are a lot of different types of questions you could ask. Short answer and paragraph, pretty obvious. Multiple choice means that people can choose one of the options you've provided. Check boxes mean they can choose multiple options that you've provided. Same with the drop down. Drop down, they can choose one. File upload is a neat feature because with a file upload, you can have people upload a file into your Google form. You can specify a file type, how many files, and then the file size. Do keep in mind that this here tells you how much space you have, how much your form can accept. So in this case, it can only accept 1 GB worth of files. If you're collecting something like video files, things that are quite large, you may want to change this number and make it a bit bigger so that your form doesn't run out of space. You can also specify where to put the files that you collect, a specific folder within your Google Drive, for example. All right, keep going. Some other things that you can do: a linear scale. Multiple choice grid means they can choose one option within the grid, and a checkbox grid, they can choose multiple. You also have the ability to ask for a date, right? Or you can ask for a specific time. Now, the date and time are very particular because it's going to ask for a date and it's going to have to be formatted properly to be that date and time. There are some other things you can do to get a specific response from people, and that includes data validation. So I'm going to turn this on to a short answer question. And let's say the question is, what is your email address? We're going to go down here to the 3 dots and we're going to click on response validation. And we want them to be answering with text, and the text must be an email address. If the person does not put in a valid email address, it won't let them continue. You could even put in a custom text. Must be an email address, right? So you could add that data validation, response validation, to make sure you're getting what you want. I'll show you another example. Let's say you're asking for a number, right? You want it to be a numeral specific. How many minutes did you practice? Go over here, response validation. It must be a number. And then you could say that it has to be greater than something specific, between, it has to be a whole number. So you could even just say it has to be a number. They can't put in like, I didn't have time to practice this week or something like that. So you can specify what you're looking for. We'll do one more example. Let's change this to a paragraph. Maybe you're looking for an essay question from the students. So go over to response validation. Length. What is the minimum or maximum character count? So if you want an essay question, it can't just be 1 sentence. So maybe the minimum character count is going to be 50. Now that's still pretty low, 50 characters, but you can make sure that you're going to get a detailed response from the students. And maybe even the custom error text is must be an essay. I don't know, but you get the idea. So you can really specify certain things and what you're looking for. Last thing I'll show you here, you may have noticed next to response validation, there's also a place to put a description. The description is where you can give more details about the question. It's not the question itself, but it's more details. I've even seen some people put in the description a second language. Maybe the form is in English, but they put the Spanish below it. There's a lot of different options for language things, but that could be one of them too. Finally, we'll take a look at the settings in your Google form. Click on settings. As you have seen or will see soon, there are options to make it a quiz. Below that, you can manage how the responses come in. If you're collecting email addresses, it will automatically ask for the email address at the top of the form. You can choose to send people a copy of their responses, allow them to edit. This is a big one here that we run into a lot. Restrict users within your domain, or if you turn that off, anybody can respond. So as a hint, if you're sending this to parents or teachers in schools other than yours, turn off this restriction. Are you limiting to 1 person? That's another one. Here's where we talked about that file upload. What's the total limit for all uploaded files? So you can choose, think about the limit of your storage in your Google Drive before picking 1 terabyte, but just be aware that that's an option. And here in the presentation, Do you want to give people a progress bar, shuffling the question orders, giving them a custom response message? That can be a really nice thing sometimes, especially if there's more information you want to give. So that's going to be something good to edit. Do you want them to be able to submit another response? And then the results summary. I typically leave this off because I don't need the kids to see what everybody else has said. And this is something kind of new. It does now, Google Forms now will auto save. So if you start filling out a Google form and you come back to it a couple days later, it will have auto saved your work. You can turn this off, but not when there are file uploads. So that's just something that you can think about. And then a couple other defaults down here at the bottom.